Hey, are you still awake? I hope I'm not interrupting. So, did you enjoy today's dinner? I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I heard Walter gave you the tour of the palace today. Thoughts? Well, I'm pleased you enjoyed the tour. Remember, you have access to all of it whenever you choose. The library, the courtyard, and the kitchen. Oh, speaking of the kitchen, I had the chefs prepare some dessert. I hope you're not allergic to chocolate cake. Hmm? I'm fine. Nothing happened at dinner. What did my parents want to talk to me about? Let's see now. Do you remember how me and my mother found you on the road? Yeah, well, we were on our way back home from visiting a few kingdoms. You see, lately my parents have been imposing the idea of me finding a partner of sorts. My parents have talked about wanting to step down for some time now, but I keep telling them that I'm simply not ready. They don't want me to marry someone right off the bat. They just want me to find somebody whom I will eventually marry whenever they choose to step down. I didn't agree to any of it, but at the very least I agreed to visit some kingdoms. At the end of the day, it's going to happen, so I might as well try my best to get an opinion on it. We also briefly spoke about you as well. My father honestly doesn't seem to mind, much to the dismay of my mother. My mother doesn't hate you. Yeah, she wasn't thrilled about us bringing you here instead of a doctor. She's more upset by the fact that you're staying here until you recover. She's probably still upset over our trip. I'm sure she'll get over it within a few days. Yeah, the trip wasn't exactly perfect. We visited 3 kingdoms to whom were more than kind enough to welcome us. We first visited the Driver's Kingdom up north. It took the longest of the 3 for us to arrive at, due in part to the large mountainous area that surrounds it. The people of Dryrus welcomed us warmly. I immediately fell in love with the city's architecture. We arrived at the palace where we met the king, queen, and their eldest daughter. On the surface, things were great, but honestly, I didn't feel any connection between the two of us. Physically, she was very beautiful, but we didn't click. She obviously didn't want to be there, and neither did I. It was a simple compliment. I apologize if I made you upset. So we had dinner with them, and like I said, things didn't click for us. So we thanked them for allowing us into their home and made our way. Naturally, my mother would have loved for us to have been done with it then and there. But oh well. We still had 2 more stops left. We then headed towards the Zoria Kingdom to the south. The trip took us a good while since we had to travel all the way down, so we ended up arriving in the morning. Zoria is entirely opposite to the Dryrus Kingdom. It has hardly, if any, mountainous areas. Instead, it's surrounded by 2 beautiful lakes. The city was definitely more akin to nature than Dryrus, though both equally have their charms. Much like we did on Dryrus, we arrived at the palace and greeted the king and queen, as well as their only daughter. Instead of dinner, they treated us to breakfast instead. Since they primarily rely on their lakes, we ended up having fresh fish for breakfast. We already have great relations with Zoria, so it was definitely less awkward than it was on Dryrus. Now, I've met their daughter a few times prior to this, so we spoke on much simpler terms. Given our kingdom's history, it's more than likely that we'll be paired up together. So we spoke and sort of made peace with that idea. Naturally, we don't harbor any romantic feelings for each other, but our pairing is most likely the one that will happen. If I had to pick, then I guess you would probably make for the best possible option, given what I have to work with. You're upset again. It was just a statement. I didn't mean anything by it. Then we left on good terms at Zoria and made our way towards the Acavia kingdom. Now the trip from Zoria to Acavia easily took the longest. We couldn't simply head straight there since there was a lake we had to cross. So we settled on heading north before making a right to reach it. Regardless, it would have taken us a long time to reach it even if we had crossed the lake. So we reached Acavia, and it took a while before our arrival was noticed. Now at the time, my mother found it rude, but once we arrived at the castle, we found out why. Apparently, the king and queen's daughter had mysteriously vanished. They aren't aware of whether or not she had been kidnapped or simply run away. The entire kingdom had been in disarray because of it. So naturally, without any business to attend to there, my mother wished for us to return. So we made our way back home without much progress being made. My mother was very upset with both the trip and me. Then we found you, and you know the rest. Hey, that's a pretty bracelet you have on. It reminds me of the jewelry of Acavia. Hey, you wouldn't have...
Apologies for barging in, Master Theodore. It's getting late and you have to wake up early tomorrow.
Because?
While you were away, the king postponed his meetings with representatives of the city, so that you may gain experience by watching these meetings.
Sounds like a drag, although I can't exactly say no to my father. Alright then, I'll head off. You should get some rest too. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, madam.
There's no meeting tomorrow, is there?
No, there is. It's imperative that you get your full rest, young Theodore.
You're right. So did you hear our conversation?
I certainly did. Honestly, young master, you're still quite the handful.
Sorry to put this burden on you, but could you perhaps keep this between us?
If that is what you request of me, then sure. Theo.
Thank you, Walter. You're the best.
That still doesn't mean that you can skip out on this meeting.
Aw, come on, Walter. What if I slept it?
No can do, young master.
Nobody would mind.
A prince has to uphold his duties.
Okay, what if I arrived an hour late?